Good afternoon and welcome to our first round leader, Justin Rose. The fifth time you've had the opportunity to be here in the interview room as the current leader in the Clubhouse. Congratulations on your opening round 65 today. Matches your career best at the Masters, 8 birdies, 1 bogey. Tell us about your great round today.
Yeah, obviously delighted to get off to such a great start, and that start definitely it happened out of the gates. So for the first few holes, everything was going exactly where I was looking, and certainly the first hole, which I think is definitely one of the trickier holes on the golf course, to knock in a nice 25-footer down the hill, right to left, is exactly what you need to settle yourself into the Masters. And then 2 and 3 are birdie opportunities. So yeah, to be 3 under through 3 kind of really got me on the front foot, and felt like I was playing great golf. And when I did find myself in a little bit of trouble, especially early, number 5, hold a great putt there for par. And then middle of the back 9, I felt like there were a couple of moments where the momentum could have changed, but really good up and downs on 14 and 15 to keep the round really hot. And yeah, obviously the only blemish on 18, but there's no point dwelling on that. I think it was a really good day's golf on a golf course that was a stern test. I think if you look at the overall leaderboard, not many low scores out there, so you had to hit a lot of quality shots, and delighted with the way I played.
Great. Thanks, Justin. We'll open it up to some questions. Joy.
Justin, I heard you saying yesterday that you really had a feeling that you were playing really good golf and something special was going to happen this week. Did you say something like to that effect? And how do you get that feeling? Is it just the stats on the ball, or just some other inner feeling that?
I mean, I don't remember saying that. I mean, I like mind reading. I love it. But this year I've been saying to people, my good is good. I've been, when I have been playing well, I feel like I've been competing at a high level. My consistency maybe hasn't been as high this year, but my good is good again. So I'm excited about that. I feel like I'm really working on good things within my game, and I've seen an uptick in my practice and how I'm going about my practice. I'm working a little bit differently, working a little bit harder, and I think that's been showing for me on occasions this year. So obviously, you come into the first major of the year, there's a lot of emphasis on how do you peak, how do you go through the preparation cycle to feel like you're going to play well. And my range work this week's been good, but my practice rounds haven't been perfect, but in some ways that's good, to come in slightly under the radar. I played last week in San Antonio, made the cut, but finished middle of the pack. But sometimes there's a lot of learning to that, and I feel like I've adjusted really, really well as this week has gone on, and obviously timed it just right to play well today.
Kira?
What was your awareness level today of where you stood throughout the day?
Yeah, so obviously starting the day, it was very much just into my own bubble, into my own game, and then you get off to a good start and you're aware that, okay, you're in the tournament from the word go, your name's on the leaderboard, the crowd around you can, that know that you're playing well, you get that energy from them as well. So then there was a nice special little run, 8, 9, 10, got to 6 under. That's when the day felt a bit different. That's when I felt like I was potentially doing something, definitely more on the special side. Then you got Amen Corner to come. You can never count. You're never really ahead of yourself until you're through 12 anyway. But good pars at 11 and 12, and then I felt like there was an opportunity to really post a low score, to be honest with you, and did a great job, like I said, in the middle of the back 9, grinding it out. A couple really good up and downs. Buried the putt at number 16, and at that point maybe got ahead of myself because I kind of felt like 17 and 18 were potential birdie holes with where the pins are. So I felt like, I was definitely looking forward and looking to do something special today. So at that point, but overall, I think great day. And I've played a lot of golf here at Augusta National. So to come away with my equal best score is certainly an achievement for me today.
Gabrielle?
Justin, you mentioned, I believe, at the PGA last year that you felt like this was kind of the Indian summer of your career. Could you just expand on if you still feel that way and what that means in terms of managing the expectations that are placed on you or the expectations that you have for yourself out here?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, at the PGA Championship at Valhalla, it was a golf course that shouldn't really suit me per se. It was a bit of a bomber's paradise, but I was in the hunt with a few holes to go there, and I ended up finishing T6th, but I was a lot more in the tournament than that finish suggests. So the fact that I was seeing those types of results on those types of courses gave me a lot of hope. And then at the Open Championship again, felt like I actually played the golf there to win, played through some of the toughest weather conditions that week and still had a great opportunity on Sunday. So again, more evidence that when the big stage is there, I can kind of bring my game and still compete with the best players in the world. And that's what, if you know that in your head, that gives you the motivation to then still work hard. If you don't quite feel like you can do it and you don't quite feel like you can play at the elite level, then practice becomes hard. So I think that those couple of weeks for me, and even the Ryder Cup in Rome in 23, they were big kind of motivating weeks where I thought, the hard work's still worth it. Still believe I can shake it, with the best. And I'm excited about the Indian summer comment is, of course, I'm 44. Golf's not going to get easier for me, in the next 5-10 years, whatever it's going to be. So, your opportunity is less going forward, so you've got to make the most of it.
Ever a point
Doug
where you...
Ferguson. Doug Ferguson.
Sorry. Was there ever a point where you thought the hard work wasn't worth it?
Not really, but I enjoy the work still, which is a good sign, right? And I think the other measure I have is if I can go and play golf by myself in the evening and still enjoy that experience, then I know that I still love the game enough to kind of make the sacrifices that are required to play well at it. But yeah, 21, 22, they weren't great seasons, and I think, having achieved a lot in the game, then you start to go through like a tough spell. That's when you have to, well, for me personally, I was like, I'm not enjoying this. And then you got to make a decision. Which way do you go from there? Do you make the right changes to get out of it, or do you just, shy away from the challenge? But that's never been the way I've liked to operate. I like my back against the wall. It probably goes back to missing 21 cuts as a young pro. It's kind of my MO, it's the way I do it. So getting stuck in is no problem.
Doug.
I think if I read correctly, back here, Justin, you've been atop the leaderboard after more rounds than anyone who has yet to win the Masters. Is that a compliment or an insult?
You know what? I feel like I've played well enough to win this tournament. I just feel like I don't have the jacket to prove it. I feel like, no, it's a compliment. I've obviously played a lot of good rounds of golf here. I've got a lot of crystal, which is obviously always nice. But ultimately you want to be last man standing on Sunday. And I was a shot shy. Well, I guess Sergio and I in 2017, that was a real 50-50. That could have gone any which way down the stretch. So a bit of lady luck here and there is obviously always the difference, at times. But I've had my luck on occasion and been the champion. And but you've got to be playing the golf to keep creating those opportunities. And obviously the only way to do that is to get your name on the leaderboard. So I definitely don't shy away from it.
Marty.
Justin, fantastic job today, sir. As you stated, you felt like 17 and 18 were gettable. And I saw the frustration on your face there at the last. But it's a career day. So leaving here, where do you land emotionally with this effort?
Yeah, very much today. I had I chunked the golf course in my mind. Little mini targets, mini goals, and that's the way I approach today. And that's going to be the approach tomorrow, and the approach on Saturday, and the approach on Sunday. So, really try to be clear out there. Really try to make sure I didn't hit a shot until I was fully committed. Those are kind of the things we say often, and they're pretty boring to hear, shot for shot, all these types of things. But ultimately, there is no other way of doing it. It's just how good you are at doing that in the moment, right? So, and it all comes down to execution. I know my way around this golf course. I have a great strategy around here. It's just it's about making it count and stepping up and hitting the shots.
Daniel.
Justin, this is your 20th Masters appearance. You mentioned about being so close to having one of those green jackets a number of times. At 44 years old, what's inspiring you?
To not be a 44, to still fit into a 40. That's what's inspiring me. No, to keep working hard, to keep in shape, to keep giving myself the opportunity to compete with the best players in the world, to keep enjoying the stage like I had today. That's a lot of fun. It's hard just to get into these tournaments. So just to keep that level of golf going, that gives me the access and the ability to keep competing at the highest stage and in the best events in the world. That is what motivates me. So, yeah, from my point of view, that's a lot of fun today, and that's what I'm in the game for, is to feel these experiences.
Chris Powers.
Justin, you teed off at noon today. I'm always curious after a round like this, how the morning went. Did you have an amazing breakfast? Did you get an extra hour of sleep? How did the morning go for you?
Man, the morning went so fast. I was rushing. I had a quick warm-up, 30 minutes on the range. I was actually a bit pushed for time. So I don't know, the morning wasn't quite long enough, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, slept well last night, kind of 7:30 alarm call. Yeah, great breakfast, yeah. And before I know it, yeah, I was up here sort of 9:45, and by the time you've done some putting on the putting green, and then moved to the short game area, and then gone to the gym, and then I was like, damn, I'm underestimating every little chunk here, and I kind of put myself behind a bit of time, but that's actually normal as well. So that was perfectly routine for me.
William.
Justin, this is a place that historically has rewarded front runners in terms of eventual champions getting off to strong starts in the first round. As someone who's been on both sides of that, can you speak to the challenge of being in chase mode? And is it more the physical demands of the course as it changes versus the mental grind of trying to make up a gap?
Yeah, I didn't know that that's the stats, but it makes sense because it's the kind of golf course that needs a ton of respect. So when you are playing with the lead or around the lead, you have the ability, you're afforded the luxury of patience and respecting holes and respecting pins and things like that. I guess when you're in chase mode, you end up possibly making one or two silly bogeys by trying to play catch up, and obviously that ultimately hampers the catch up. So yeah, that does make sense. But from my point of view, I know what holes suit me, what pins suit me, where I want to play defense, where I want to feel like I can be on the front foot. So that's all I can do really going into the next few days.
On.
Hey, Justin, here. Just now I want to ask you how much of today was down to your putting today, quality of your putting, and would you care to perhaps compare today's putting with maybe some of your other better days at Augusta?
Yeah, so it's hard to compare. I think there was a stage where I was more strokes gained putting in major championships than anybody else. I don't know what time frame that was, but definitely, let's say from 2017 through 2022, I think I was putting, better than a lot of guys. So that is a good sign to be able to do it on these golf courses. These greens, I've been here 20 times. They always change a little bit. There's always a couple of greens that get tweaked or rebuilt. So you can't completely go off memory. You have to sort of still be very aware of the moment and some subtleties out there. And, conditions change. If the greens are incredibly quick, things do break a little bit more. Or if there's wind, it can hold the ball up. So, yeah, you can't just be, I know this putt, bang, let's go. So today was a great putting round. I'm sure statistically it was very, very strong. I hold a lot of medium to long range putts, and took my chances when I hit great shots. When I hit the ball in tight, I made those 5-6 footers, which is exactly what you have to do. There was only one putt I felt like I missed really, which was on 13. And my whole group had trouble around that pin. It was so fast, but. Today was obviously when you shoot 7 under and you clip a major championship field by 3 or so, you have to do a lot of things well. And obviously the putter was a big part of it.
Brendan.
Hey, Justin here. Obviously it's a great field and so many great players, but when you consider Scotty's, just what he's done in recent years and specifically his, recent history here, when you're starting out and you already see him kind of out and going, is there any not being pressed to keep up, but almost like kind of a pace car situation of if he's going off, you got to kind of keep up if you want to stay in it?
No, there's absolutely no mentality like that whatsoever, because I think we all are running our own race as hard as we can, and there's you just don't have you're not afforded the luxury to think that way at all. But you do notice Scotty on the leaderboard, and you're like, that's a great start for him. He's going to be tough from there, for sure. That. But it doesn't rattle you or change what you're doing or influence you in any way. But, you're like, okay, as his position in the game right now, and obviously the way he's played in recent years, that's a great start for him. Probably the perfect start.
Ben.
Hey Justin, I wondered how much time you'd had to reflect on what happened at Royal Troon sort of in the last 8 months, and do you think that experience of sort of being in contention there will help you over the last 3 days here?
Yeah, I hope so. I think at Royal Troon, I was all about, again, had a great game plan, felt very comfortable on the golf course, felt like I had a great strategy of how to play it. The wind did shift around a little bit during different days, and I just felt like I locked into how best to approach the golf course, and I did a lot of good things that week. And I felt like probably, in hindsight, I felt like I played good enough to win the tournament, 100%. So I took a lot of confidence from it. So when I look back at it, I came off the golf course and I was kind of emotional as well, because I knew how close it was, and I knew what a great opportunity to win it was, and to not do it and to fall short really hurt. But to feel that was actually really motivating as well. So I don't look back at it with any regret. I actually look back at it with a lot of hunger, knowing that opportunity still exists for me.
Maybe just a couple more questions. Adam?
Justin,
Adam.
when you were chasing world number one, I remember you telling me you felt you needed to carry the driver 300 yards, minimum to have that chance. Is there some stat or something you're trying to do now to keep up with these young guys?
There were a few things this year that I needed to improve on. It was like 75 to 125 was a key area. Actually getting a little bit better out of the bunker again, which is something that I've always been incredibly good at, but bunker play falling off a touch. And then also getting better strokes gained off the tee. But I think aging out a little bit to kind of go down the bomber, that model is probably a little dangerous, but more of the Colin Morikawa model of more fairways, so that's definitely something I need to do to compete week in, week out.
Last question, Neil?
Yeah, hi Justin, well played. Just go back to your Indian summer theme as well. I mean, you've worked so hard to get here, but you're already a major winner, an Olympic champion. Do you feel this is a bonus time for you to add, or do you still feel that you want to work for your legacy? You've got the pressure on you, feel the self-pressure to add more?
Yeah, I think you always feel self-pressure to add more, for sure. I do feel that I could make a statement with how well I play in the back end of my career. That's a great opportunity, though, for me, not a pressure. So I think, to answer your question, I see it as all as upside now. I think my resume is nicely rounded out. There's a few big glaring gaps, which are obviously the 3 major championships I haven't won, maybe a Players' Championship as well. So there's tons of opportunity to do things I haven't done before, but if the major headlines are kind of all in place for me, so I should use that as freedom to take these opportunities and use them to kind of freewheel and use it all as upside. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Justin, and best of luck the rest of the week.
Appreciate it, guys.